Very good morning to you. It is 7 o'clock right now. Wow, wow, wow. Do you believe that it's really the Memorial Day weekend? I mean, I remember we were talking about this back in January, like, just wait. Memorial Day weekend's going to be here like soon enough. Yeesh. 7 a.m. Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Rain today could be locally heavy. Chilly and damp with highs only in the low 50s. Really gloomy. Do you hear all the heavy rain all night? Let's head to meteorologist Mike Favetta. A first check of the Garden State forecast. Mike, we needed the good drenching for the dry conditions we've had.
Yep. We did, and we got it with the downpours that came through New Jersey last night. Ken, more than 1 inch of rain fell across New Jersey, especially late in the overnight. Starting around midnight, 1 a.m., you could see these downpours move their way eastward, giving us the heavy downpours throughout the early part of this morning. Now the heaviest of the rain is out over the ocean in Long Island, but there's still another batch that will come throughout the morning rush. So with the intense amount of rain that fell, more than 1.5 inches back by Toms River. Same for you over toward Bordentown and Trenton and right down by LBI. Just around 1 inch of rain. Currently, we're seeing some light drizzle in these areas because most of the heavy rain has moved east, maybe out toward Bergen County, down the Palisades Parkway. You could run into a shower this morning. Still raining at a good clip down Route 9 and over toward the Parkway, especially down toward Red Bank and Homedale, and even further south of Atlantic City, another batch of wet weather expected to come through in the next few minutes. On top of that, there's the easterly breeze that's been pretty persistent, and because we're against the new moon, there's a coastal flood advisory for these counties shaded in green. So with all of the wet weather around today, it'll still feel chilly. We're currently sitting at 48 degrees up north, 55 down south, and with the temperatures running anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees cooler than they were yesterday, the air is saturated, so it's a very damp and gray and cool morning. The easterly breezes persist today. Wind gusts right now anywhere from 18 to 22 miles per hour. And with those winds eventually blowing from the north, starting to dry us out, it'll take some time, especially through Friday and Saturday, where the winds move in from the south and west, pushing in some milder air, and likely see a little bit of clearing down in southern New Jersey by the time we get to Friday morning. So tomorrow looks a little bit brighter by the end of the day, even as soon as the end of the morning in points south of Atlantic City. Again, here's a shot of that rain coming through last night, heavy at times, but I think we'll see a gradual tapering of those heavy showers through this afternoon. The Futurecast shows that nicely, just a few quick passing sprinkles throughout the day today, and with most of the heavy rain off to our east, there will be a little bit of slight clearing beginning tomorrow morning down south of the Atlantic City Expressway. Doesn't last because the clouds return, even a few sprinkles off in the northern sections of the state, with partial clearing into the afternoon. We don't completely dry out on Saturday because while we start off sunny Saturday morning, the clouds quickly race in for the afternoon and might even bring a quick sprinkle, especially in the northern counties. Sunday looks dry. Are we going to get up out of the 60s? Maybe 69, possibly 70, but it's going to take some time considering we start our day in the 40s, eventually climbing back in, there you go, 72 by Sunday afternoon in Newark. So a little bit warmer throughout the end of the weekend and drier still. The next few days featuring the rain today, clouds tomorrow up north, a little bit of sun down south, and then we're back to some clearing, especially this weekend with drier weather, highs in the 60s, not necessarily the, chef's kiss forecast for Memorial Day, but I think we can, all appreciate a little bit of drier weather after so much soggy wet weather over these last few days, Ken.
All right, Mike, we'll take it. Absolutely. But yes, I do understand that we do need the wet weather for now. You get the wet
Mm-hmm.
weather to pay for the dry weather. We appreciate it, sir. It is 50 damp degrees right now at 7:04. Lots and lots of traffic to talk about. Let's take a look at this one traffic cam. This is in the area. This is by mile marker 150.8 north of the Essex Toll Plaza. So that's in the vicinity of Bloomfield near Clifton, that area on the Garden State Parkway. You can see it's moving. There's an emergency vehicle off on the left side of your screen. I don't think it's causing any issues, but you can see things are moving along, but just wet. I wanted to show you this to show you how wet the roadways are. That is pretty much the entire state of New Jersey you're looking at in a nutshell right there. So just beware, you definitely need extra travel time this morning. We have flooding on Route 3 eastbound, which is actually not far from what you just saw, because that connects with Route 3 at exit 151. So that's one exit away from Route 3. So there's flooding on New Jersey's Route 3 eastbound at exit 21 in Clifton. All lanes are open, but people are kind of getting in from the side lanes. You know how water pools at the sides? So people are kind of seeing where the flooding is coming to the side, or they're hitting the flooding on the side lanes too hard, losing control for a second. Just beware when you see puddles, kind of give people some room. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway, local lane southbound north of exit 105, about 25 miles south of what you were looking at. That's by Route 36 in Tinton Falls. The two left lanes are blocked. Crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound south of interchange 8A, which is Route 32 in Monroe Township. All lanes are open. There are vehicles on the right shoulder there. And we have a crash on I-80 westbound west of exit 58, Madison Avenue in Patterson. One right lane is blocked. It's closed. Crash on Route 29 northbound north of 295 in Hamilton Township. Two left lanes are closed, and we have a down pole on Route 208 southbound south of Utter Avenue. And that is in, of course, now I lost it. Just had it. You know where Utter Avenue is. You know what I'm talking about. And there is we have roving repairs on Route 70 eastbound from west of Hartford Road in Medford Township by 206 in Southampton Township. The right shoulder is closed. Let's take a look right now. The I-8095 approach to the GWB, it is very heavy. So we have about a 50-minute delay going into the New York City from the GWB. We're told it's about 35 minutes at the Lincoln, 30 minutes at the Holland. And we will show you the other cam we always show you. We're going to wait for that for just a minute as we get into our news. 7:06 is our time, and one man is under arrest after two Israeli embassy staff members were killed in a shooting outside the Washington Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. This happened last night. The shooting occurred in front of the museum where an event was being held by the American Jewish Committee. The staffers were both shot at close range, and police say the suspect shouted "Free, Free Palestine" several times while being arrested. He was seen pacing back and forth outside the event before the attack. Police identified the alleged shooter as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. The victims were boyfriend and girlfriend. They were about to be engaged in Jerusalem. They were young. They're only in their 20s. They were going to fly to Jerusalem and get engaged. The shooting caps a year of American radical protesters shouting "Free Palestine" in response to the Israeli invasion of Gaza, which in turn was a response to Gaza's attack on Israel in October of 2023, in which over 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered. But is it any shock when all these liberal professors and college campuses have been allowing these students to get all loaded up without much of the facts about what's going on in Gaza and what Gaza is and the attacks on Israel, and everybody saying that from the river to the sea? Are you surprised? Are you surprised that a lunatic leaves Chicago, as he is alleged to have done, gone to our nation's capital with a gun and shot to death at point blank range two young people? You liberals who think, oh, it's just freedom of speech. Every time Trump said anything, you blame Trump. Oh, it's going to cause an attack, but an attack never happened. Because Republicans and conservatives are not lunatics like the fringe left. And this is what happens when the fringe left hears the constant chant, "From the river to the sea, from the river to the sea." You have murders happening, and the blood is on your hands. The blood is on your hands because you permitted this to happen. Just like at Columbia University and all the liberal college campuses in this country, that is what happens. Shifting gears here at 7:08, miracle of miracles. The New Jersey Department of Transportation has reopened two lanes on Interstate 80 eastbound in Wharton, something that makes our director, Pam, very, very happy. Pam, is that you driving right there? I bet that is. It could be. So we now have I-80 eastbound opened through Wharton. Two lanes are open. The whole thing isn't open, but at least two lanes. That had been closed for sinkhole repair. We've been showing you that. Is that right now? That's right now. I can't believe that's like a miracle of miracles. So the oncoming traffic is eastbound. That's what's headed toward us. On the other side is westbound. Westbound's going to be opening shortly, probably next week. But this, of course, had to be shut down for sinkhole repairs. I'm sure those people are very happy. Look at Route 15, how empty it is on the right. Oh, the locals must be thrilled right now. So state transportation officials said the eastbound detour of exit 34 will be removed. DOT staff and contractors worked literally around the clock for several months after those sinkholes started to open up, one in December, then another in January, and then they kept finding one after another because there were improperly refilled iron mines from over a century ago. The work on the westbound side, of course, of Route 80 is progressing. The NJDOT says it expects 2 lanes to reopen of that by the end of next week. The DOT is hoping to have all lanes reopen in all directions, and we never have to talk about it again on June 25th. Fingers crossed. 710, New Jersey Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver could spend 16 years in prison if she is convicted of all the federal charges now mounted against her. McIver is charged with assaulting 2 federal officers during a confrontation at Delaney Hall in Newark, the ICE detention facility there. The Congresswoman had her first court appearance yesterday, where the judge warned her that she is not allowed to travel internationally until her trial. Her lawyer insisted she's not a flight risk, and the judge said she would consider allowing McIver to travel for vacation, provided the judge gets a lot of information ahead of time so they know exactly where she's going and when. McIver is also ordered to surrender any firearms by Saturday. Her next court appearance is scheduled for June 11th. And a key House committee voted to advance President Trump's sweeping tax and spending bill late last night, clearing a major hurdle after days of Republican infighting and setting the stage for a floor vote in the full House. This came after frenzied late-night negotiations that yielded just enough concessions to bring key GOP holdouts on the House Rules Committee back on board. So it looks like they're going to have that vote on the big, beautiful bill. You can keep that video up because I'll talk about that story next, Pam. This is a different story. I wanted to show President Trump. The reason why we're showing him there is talking about some uncomfortable moments for the leader of South Africa yesterday. That's the man you see on the left. He thought he was going to go and sign a trade deal with President Trump in the Oval Office. President Trump had something more for him. The two of them, in front of a gaggle of reporters, Trump wanted to know what South African President Cyril Ramaphosa would do about a possible genocide being committed in his nation, South Africa, against white farmers. Trump pointed out that a growing number of Afrikaners, those are white South Africans whose families migrated to South Africa 400 years ago, a number of them, 50, 60 of them, had been fleeing to the U.S., more to Australia as refugees. They were claiming that people are taking over their privately owned farmland in South Africa and killing white landowners in the process. These people are terrified. That is the true definition of a refugee. Your life is in danger, not people from Central and South America coming with pre-printed cards that liberal organizations in America hand them to fake us into believing they're refugees just because they want to make more money than they had in Central America, which is what the case is in 95% of the cases of the migrants. And if the Biden administration let all the migrants from Central and South America in, they were allowed to come in, Mexico, which is North America as well. But here you have people genuinely terrified for their lives. Pictures of 1,000 white crosses along the road of white farmers who were murdered at point blank range because not the government, but people who were against Afrikaners in South Africa were murdering these people to take their farmland, and the government was somewhat complicit because they did nothing about it. And they continued denying it, even though there's now video of 100,000 blacks in South Africa chanting in a stadium to kill the white farmers, kill the Boers, kill the Afrikaners. That's what they're shouting on video, 100,000. Would you feel safe in a country like that? That's why they're fleeing here. But yet liberals in the media, because it doesn't fit the media, the media narrative that blacks could be attacking whites, only that whites could be attacking blacks. So liberals in the media denied it, didn't do it as a story. Just right-wing media has been covering this. Left-wing mainstream so-called media has had nothing to say about this at all. That's why Trump did this story in the Oval Office, to force their hand, to take a look at the video. He had video of open graves of whites who were shot at point-blank range, and he demanded that something be done about it. In the meantime, South Africa will not get a penny of our money for aid until they come up with an answer and a solution to, basically he's saying, the president of South Africa was saying, well, we can't control people roving in and murdering these white farmers. That's between them. Yeah, you're the government. You have police. You're supposed to stop this. It's like he was complicit, saw it happening, didn't really disagree with it, let it occur. Well, if you want that to happen, it's your country, sir, but don't expect a penny of our aid. Meanwhile, CNN anchor Jake Tapper conceded yesterday that, quote, conservative media was right about former President Joe Biden's declining health, and that he, Jake Tapper, and the rest of the legacy media needed to engage in a lot of soul searching. In other words, we've been doing stories for years on the right, and the left wouldn't touch the story or would call us kooks and conspiracy theorists, and now they're finally admitting, oh, maybe you're right. During an appearance on the Megyn Kelly show, Tapper was grilled by host Megyn Kelly about his own failure to cover signs of Biden's declining health. In fact, when Lara Trump appeared on CNN with Jake Tapper, mentioning the obvious decline of Biden. She was told to basically shut up and sit down. You're not a doctor. You have no idea what's going on. He just stutters a little bit. Now she's been proven right, but no apologies from Jake Tapper or the liberal media. 7:15, when we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Rain today could be locally heavy, and it has been overnight. Chilly and damp, highs only in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. We have some breaking news here at 7:16 right now. The big, beautiful bill, President Trump's big, beautiful bill, which everyone said had no chance of clearing the committees, let alone passing the House because of the tiny, tiny majority that Republicans hold in the House. The big, beautiful bill has now passed in the House. And now, of course, Republicans have a majority in the Senate, although there are some holdouts. It's going to be a little harder. They're going to have something called reconciliation, where the senators come in, take a look, and say, that has to go, this has to stay. They then send it back to the House. They decide if that's acceptable. And if so, then the Senate signs it and the president signs it into law. If that's the case, they're hoping it'll be done by July 4th. But amazingly, this is amazing. In this short amount of time, the President Trump's in office to get his bill. And in this bill, the big, beautiful bill, in the bill is included a lot of the executive orders that President Trump signed into law that if another president comes in a few years, they could unsign. So this codifies that into law. So a lot of those executive orders become law through Congress in this big, beautiful bill, and it can't be undone by another president. It has to be undone by another Congress, which is much more difficult. So we'll keep you updated on that as the morning goes on. At 7:17, welcome back. It is a chilly, damp, rainy 50 degrees right now. It's going to stay that way through much of the day with lots of rain coming. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, the Garden State. This is our big, beautiful Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. It's a big rainy day here across New Jersey. Some may say it's beautiful. Most, maybe not, especially driving in it or just commuting in wet weather as dreary as this. Look at all of the showers that have moved through New Jersey, now off to our east. Well, there's more coming, and they seem to be developing right around the center of the low. You see the big swirl here over the Midwest. That's what's moving in our direction, slowly lifting to the north so we don't tap into all of the rain, but we still got a good soaking last night. Even for the next few hours, you see the future radar sending those showers over the Parkway, another batch working in through central New Jersey, back over through Lindenwold and by Medford and Mount Holly. Into this afternoon, we'll likely see that rain continue. So central New Jersey's forecast taps into the upper 50s only today, pretty much where we were yesterday, with that rain continuing on and off through this afternoon. Picked up more than 1.5 inches of rain out through the Pine Barrens, 1.4 inches there by Toms River, and just about 1 inch over in Point Pleasant. The saving grace is that it absolutely wipes the slate clean of pollen. We are down to low across the board. Might see molds pop up by tomorrow, thanks to that persistent wet weather. But it did give us anywhere from 1 to 2 inches as our forecast rainfall verified that. I think we won't see much more going in the rain bucket going forward. It's just kind of a slow, drizzly forecast from this point forward. And of course, the UV still remains at a 1 today, which is low. The bigger picture showing more of these showers spinning through. This is the upper level system that will keep our clouds around through the rest of today and tomorrow. And with those showers lingering into this afternoon, keep the roads wet through this evening's rush. So keep that in mind. A little bit of clearing by tomorrow morning south of the Atlantic City Expressway. We're back to the clouds in northern New Jersey. Temperatures hold in the 50s. Not much warmer tomorrow, but a few more breaks of sun by the end of the day. So it'll look a little bit brighter. Saturday has even more clearing, especially as the clear skies lift their way through northern New Jersey. But as the sun returns, the air is still unstable, so it creates a few afternoon clouds. And even though we climb into the upper 60s, there's still that outside chance of a quick passing sprinkle up towards Sussex, western Passaic, and Bergen County by the end of the day Saturday. Sunday's nice and dry. Temperatures still hold in the 60s, not much milder through the afternoon. A few extra clouds by the end of the day. And then going into Monday, there's actually the potential for another round of rain that comes in, especially along the shore points. I know it's not the news you wanted to hear for Memorial Day. Even Tuesday has another round of rain. So we seem to be stuck in this pattern of showers that return quickly before even the holiday weekend can finish. And then going into the end of next week, heavy on the clouds with some breaks of sun in there. But overall, another wet pattern emerges into next week. At least we're dry for Saturday and Sunday. So this weekend proper, we're looking good. Highs running about 5 to 7 degrees below average, but it'll be drier. It stays cooler than we'd like. At least the sun returns at times and keeps things rain-free for the most part on Saturday and Sunday. So we get to dry out this weekend just in time for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, amen to that. All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mike. It's chilly and damp right now, though. 50 degrees, 721. Lots of traffic to talk about. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. This is on the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 148.5, north of exit 147 in East Orange. Just a lot of volume combined with the wet roadways. No accident, but you could see the traffic coming towards you is northbound, and you could just see what's happening. People probably avoiding the extreme. See how they're coming away from the right lane? A lot of cases, they have puddles of water, the ponding of water there from all the heavy rains that Mike was talking about that we had overnight. So people are coming toward the middle, and that's causing more traffic to occur. We have a crash on the GSP local lane southbound north of exit 105, about 30 miles south of that point, by Route 36 in Tinton Falls with the right lane blocked. Crash on the NJTP, the New Jersey Turnpike Inner Roadway, interchange 8A. All the lanes are open, vehicles on the right shoulder. Down pole on 208 southbound south of Utter Avenue in Hawthorne. All lanes are closed. Roving repairs on Route 70 eastbound from west of Hartford Road in Medford Township to 206 in Southampton Township with the right shoulder closed. 8095 approach to the GWB bumper to bumper right now. We got, oh, look at that. They give us a different camera shot to show us how bad it is. And it is ugly. We're told 45 to 50 minutes in on the upper and lower levels right now in the GWB, 35 at the Lincoln, 30 at the Holland. And that is the mess that we have right now. It is 7:22. It is time for politics from Trenton, explained like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Weilstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It is Thursday, May 22nd, and as we wrap up our discussions about the recent gubernatorial debates, I mean, this is something the Globe has spent a huge amount of time on recently. I want to pay tribute to our host, Essex County, and the state-of-the-art Donald Payne Senior School of Technology in Newark. County Executive Joe DiVincenzo and Chief of Staff Phil Elagia were incredible partners in this effort. I mean, they made 2 debates in 3 days possible, and for people who know Joe D and Phil, their attention to detail comes as no surprise. I mean, I watched the county executive personally inspecting the school, making sure that everything was up to his high standards. And Phil kept showing up during setup on the days of the production and the debate, and just making sure that everything was getting done. And you know, it's the personal attention to details that by these guys that just make things happen. And so I want to tell you my favorite Joe D story. About 7 years ago, I had lunch with the county executive and Phil at McLuhan's Boathouse in West Orange. It's right next to the Turtleback Zoo. And Joe D asked me when the last time I was that I'd been to the zoo, and I told him I was probably about 9 or 10, and this was not the right answer. Because Joe insisted on giving me a personal tour. Now, this was August and it was hot, and I was wearing a suit, and Joe D's taking me up and down the hills and showing me around, giving me this insider view of the zoo's operation. And I watched him notice little things. Something was out of place that he didn't like, and barking orders for somebody to fix it. And then he told me about something that had happened just a week or two earlier. He said he was looking at the weekly reports, and he noticed that the sale of bird seed at the zoo was down, and that the drop off didn't make any sense to him. So he called Philology into his office and said, what's going on here? The bird seed sales are down, and Elijah, I'm told, said something like Joe, why are you bothering me about bird seed? And the drop in sales haunted Joe D, and he decided that he needed to get into the weeds and find out what had happened. And he did. He figured out that the zoo had hired a new employee who put some of the birdseed sale revenues into his pocket, and all because Joe D analyzes reports and he knows what he's looking at. And so to Joe DiVincenzo and Phil Elagia, thank you so much from the New Jersey Globe. And that is it, everybody, for today. And I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And yes, I had a similar experience with Joe DiVincenzo. He loves to show off his beautiful county. 726. We have amazing video for you. Check out this unbelievable dash cam video. This is an out of control dump truck speeding into a home in Woodbury Heights yesterday. Watch what happens right here. He lost control. The guy driving that vehicle had a medical episode. Look at that, right into the house. They had to bring experts in, and this is in Gloucester County, by the way. They had to bring experts in, the utility company, to make sure the gas was turned off. Turns out that that house is not dwellable, if you will, right now. But the good news is nobody got killed. In fact, he didn't even get severe injuries. Yeah, they had to tear it down, that house, obviously, because it was unstable. The truck went right into it at that speed. But amazingly, they were able to get the utility company out there and turn off the gas. Everybody said to be okay. That's the miracle. You could always build another house. The insurance company's there for that. And the good news is the medical episode he experienced, nobody got. Can you imagine if there were kids on that street at that moment? Thank God nobody got hurt. Man's okay, and the people in the home not hurt. So hopefully they get a nice new home out of it. Unfortunately, they're a little inconvenienced at the time, but that's amazing to watch. That's guided by angels there. 727, acting Columbia University President Claire Shipman, who's the former correspondent for Good Morning America, decided to provoke students at the university's graduation ceremony yesterday. She talked about arrested ex-grad student Mahmoud Khalil. Dozens of graduating students in the riled up audience then started to chant Khalil's name. Remember, there are a lot of Jewish students there as well at Columbia. So, of course, if they're there with their families next to people chanting pro-Palestine, etc., you can imagine how uncomfortable the whole circumstance was. Khalil was arrested by ICE agents at an off-campus apartment owned by the university back in March. He was taken to a Louisiana migrant detention facility awaiting deportation. The Trump administration says Khalil, who served as a spokesman for several anti-Israel groups, engaged in activities aligned with Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. 728. Do you need a lawyer? I got somebody for you. Call Kim Kardashian. Well, she's not an attorney yet, technically. She didn't pass the bar, but she is a lawyer now. The Skims founder took to Instagram yesterday to celebrate her graduation from law school after 6 years. There's the video. The 44-year-old explained that her desire to study law began after feeling dumbfounded watching a video on Twitter. She didn't understand anything they were talking about. So she figured, I'm going to educate myself. She dedicated 18 hours a week, 48 weeks a year for 6 straight years. That's dedication. Of course, it helps when you have 100 million or whatever, a billion in the bank. But she did it while raising 4 children, running businesses, filming her TV shows, and showing up in courtrooms to advocate for others, which she did do, to her credit. You may recall, and everywhere I saw her story online, one who's too young to know this, what I'm about to tell you. Now I feel old. Her late father, Robert Kardashian, was the lawyer who famously represented O.J. Simpson in the murder trial of O.J.'s ex-wife and waiter. And OJ was exonerated in that, if you recall. So that's what her dad did. Her dad was the attorney in the OJ Simpson trial, one of the key attorneys. And all the younger folks who are in their 20s are like, I watch Kim Kardashian. I watch Meet the Kardashians. They're too young to realize, sorry to mock you, Gen whatever, Y or Z. But they're too young to realize that's why she actually went to law school, to become a lawyer, because of her dad, not just because she wanted to be able to read her contracts like some have hypothesized. 7:30 right now. It is 50 degrees. And when we come back, May is Teacher Appreciation Month. My mother was a school administrator. My mother-in-law was a teacher. So I'm so excited for this. We will talk about how you can help celebrate your favorite educators. They deserve your praise. The phone lines are open. We're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. Lots of rain today. Could be locally heavy, chilly and damp. Highs only in the low 50s. We're practically there now. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We're seeing daily to thousands and thousands of people at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we're streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/ONNJ. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You know, when we first had that video cut, Pam made fun of it, our director. She said, "That's so weird." I said, "Yeah, it is weird." Now she loves it. It's one of her favorites. It's sort of the Zen rejoiner. Take a nice deep breath. It's ugly outside, so at least that'll get you in a Zen mood. And a very good morning to you. It is 50 degrees at 7:31, Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. Rain today. Could be locally heavy. Chilly and damp with highs only in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. He's always in a Zen mood. Mike is
Yeah.
always smiling, no matter what, with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Except when the baby's screaming his head off at 3 a.m. You won't see me smiling.
Or the dog wakes you up barking for a walk.
No, Rocco's pretty good. He'll just come to you, put his snout in your hand, and be like, come on, let's go. So yeah, we're working on the baby. Gotta get the baby into the long overnights. Today is just a day you want to throw on your jammies and kind of stick around the house, because it is that cold, it is that damp and cool, and it stays breezy throughout this afternoon. So these weather headlines have not changed since yesterday. It's another wet, cool, and breezy day today. Chilly through tomorrow. Still cloudy on Saturday with a little bit more sunshine returning into Sunday. We're stuck in this weather pattern that keeps us damp and gray and cool, even down the shore. 60s only, 60 as the high. We started the morning in the mid 50s, so temperatures really aren't going anywhere today. And there's still the threat of an outside chance of a passing shower or storm into the end of the day. 8:14, your sunset, although it feels like it gets darker around 7 when the clouds are hanging around this low. Latest check of the radar picture shows the heaviest showers in Monmouth and Ocean County. Another batch entering western sections of the state, about to cross the Delaware this morning, and they'll move through across 80 and 78 through the next few hours. As far as the rainfall chances today, of course, 100%. Now, by tomorrow, we see that big drop down into the 30% range. So most of the morning, I think, will have a shower chance, but we dry out into the afternoon. And Saturday, primarily northern New Jersey, north of even Route 80 and, kind of in the 287 loop there, could see a quick passing sprinkle by Saturday afternoon. But again, most of New Jersey's dry Saturday. Great air quality today. Those numbers are nice and low, which is good thanks to that fresh breeze out of the east, keeping us cool, keeping us cloudy, and keeping those shower chances around even throughout tomorrow morning. So the lows eventually dissipate. We're left with this upper level system that gives them clouds for Saturday, and then Saturday evening, the front sweeps through, tries to clear us out, brings back some sunshine on Sunday. Not exactly milder, and we'll get into the upper 60s, but still going to be heavy on the clouds clouds through the end of the weekend. And then by Monday, there is a slight chance that some rain could return, especially for the northern section of the state, 73 as your high. So a little bit cooler this weekend, but a big warm up from the 50s where we sit today. And then the rain returns by Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. The shore points have a slightly milder forecast. That'll feel nice with a little bit of a westerly breeze and a southwest component on Sunday. Monday has more clouds, then I think the rain returns for Tuesday into Wednesday with temperatures holding in the lower 70s. So not all terrible, Ken, but I think we could slowly work on it going into the weekend.
Yeah, work on it. Work on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. A chilly 50 degrees. The temperature hasn't budged in the last hour. 7:35 is our time. And taking a look at the roadways, they haven't budged much either. It's all the rain on the roadways causing problems like that. This is the New Jersey Turnpike, Hudson County Extension, Interchange 14. And that is what gets you over toward Newark Airport. So you can see the mess right now. That is bumper to bumper stopped. So if you're headed to the airport, give yourselves extra travel time because that's what you're going to encounter. Make sure you leave enough time as you leave your house this morning. Other roadway issues: a crash on the Garden State Parkway, local lane southbound, north of exit 105, Route 36 in Tinton Falls. All lanes are open but moving very slowly. Crash on the Turnpike inner roadway, northbound south of interchange 8A, Route 32 in Monroe Township. Vehicles on the right shoulder. And we have a down pole on Route 208 southbound south of Utter Avenue in Hawthorne. All lanes are closed. And roving repairs now on Route 70 eastbound from west of Hartford Road in Medford Township to 206 in Southampton Township with the right shoulder closed. 8095 approach to the GWB right now. This is even a different camera angle they gave us. It's stopped. So that's like 50 to 60 minutes to get into Manhattan right now in the GWB. We're told 35 minutes at the Lincoln and 30 minutes at the Holland. Give yourselves a lot of extra travel time. And because it makes Pam happy, let's show the I-80 traffic cam, which is by exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton, New Jersey. Now it is open eastbound. We have 2 lanes. After 5 months, 2 lanes are now open eastbound. That's what's coming towards you. That's eastbound on I-80. The westbound lanes are still closed. Hopefully in about a week or two, we'll have 1 or 2 westbound lanes. And by June, everything will be open by June 25th. That's the hope. We never have to talk about those darn sinkholes ever again. Fingers crossed. It is 7:36. May is Teacher Appreciation Month, a time to celebrate the educators who shape our future and our children's futures. But when it comes to showing gratitude, what gifts do teachers really want? You know, back in my day, you gave teacher an apple. You don't do that today. They look at you like, hey. A recent survey from study.com revealed some surprising insights, and it turns out those homemade cookies might not be the way to go. Joining us now is Cecily Glanton, National Director of K-12 Impact at Study.com, to share what teachers truly appreciate as we head into the end of the school year. Cecily, thank you for being here. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Now, I talk about it all the time. My mom worked in the office at a Montessori school for 25 years. My mother-in-law was a teacher in South Florida for decades. So this is very near and dear to me. So many of the teachers, I used to hear the stories all the time of, like, my mother-in-law worked in a very poor school district. A lot of these kids never ate outside of school. They didn't have food. They didn't have money. My mother-in-law would raise money on her own or out of her own pocket, go and buy school supplies for these kids. People don't realize a lot of teachers do this. So it's nice to see teachers embraced and shown some love. They deserve it. And your recent study.com survey of K-12 teachers gave us a fresh look at what teachers value most when it comes to appreciation gifts. Share the top gift preferences that stood out in the results for us.
Sure. Well, more than 50% of the teachers surveyed actually said handwritten notes and letters are their favorite gifts. Teachers really want something personal and heartfelt from their students that don't really cost anything. The small but meaningful gestures of appreciation, those are the most impactful gifts. However, gift cards are also favored by about 45% of educators for their flexibility and practicality, for purchases in the classroom and beyond.
And I'm sure, knowing a lot of the teachers that I know, those gift cards would probably be used to buy things for the kids too. That's what they do. Teachers, they're just selfless. I mean, my mother-in-law literally would spend $4,000 that she did not have at the time to get school supplies for kids. And this one kid, I remember she bought clothes for this one kid. I mean, that's what they do. They just have hearts of gold because they become their children. It's their surrogate children during the day. Now, the survey
Very true.
highlighted more than a third, right? A third of teachers
Yes.
saying homemade baked goods are their least desired gift. I know a lot of people feel it's something from the heart, they want to do it, but why do you think they don't favor baked goods?
I would suspect it has to do with allergies and dietary
Right.
restrictions. The list is probably longer than that, but we're going to run with those two as the top two.
Right. Everyone's always worried about the sugar intake. It's too much sugar. We don't want all that
Yeah.
sugar. Yeah, absolutely. I want to hit you. You mentioned the gift, not the gift cards, but the personal cards and notes. And again, I'm sorry to keep harkening back, just personal experience. My mother-in-law has saved for years. She has saved personal notes from kids, and she's even been revisited down the line by kids who were her kids 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and she still has notes from them. So you're right, that the personal notes, it means everything to them as they grow up, knowing that they had an impact on those kids. It's so sweet. And now we got the end of the school year approaching. Many parents and students are thinking about end of year gifts. So based on your survey, other than the gift card, or maybe so, maybe that's the gift. What is the practical tip you'd give somebody wanting to show their teacher appreciation in a very meaningful way?
I think the best way to move forward is parents and students should keep gift giving simple and from the heart and stick to an affordable price range. Teachers don't want you to go broke gifting them, but they are really, as you mentioned, touched by personal gifts and gestures. A scarf that speaks to the teacher's favorite color and something incorporated that the student loves. They remember these things. You're so right. They form a bond with the students, and that's really important to them.
That's so cool. That's sweet. And I never even gave that a thought. Being the dopey guy on the set here, I don't think about nice things like that. But I would imagine a teacher would love something like that. And then when they wear it at an event, I'm sure they would brag and say, "This is from one of my students," because they're so proud of that. That's so sweet. Um, as were you a teacher, by the way?
I was not full time, but I've tutored and taught piano.
Well, that's a big deal. My husband was also a piano teacher, so that's very much a teacher, and there's a lot of effort that goes into that. And I'm sure when you saw your students progress, it made you very, very proud as well. You form a bond there.
Very much so. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very special thing, a very, very special time to remember, I'm sure. Beyond gifts, what's one thing that parents and students can do year round to make sure that teachers feel valued and supported? Should parents make sure that no matter how busy their schedule, they come to the teacher meetings and things like that? What can they do to really show that they want to be part of this?
Yes, involvement is critical. You know, the student teacher relationship in general is so critical to overall student success, especially when you consider how many hours they spend together. Our teachers are on the front line supporting our kids and, as we mentioned, developing a special bond with them. As parents, it's important for us to recognize the significant impact they have in the lives of our children and the role they play in preparing them for the future. So, Teacher Appreciation Month is a wonderful reason to celebrate them, but we should really recognize and appreciate their value and contributions throughout the year.
Oh, heck yeah. And what's the website people can go to check out and get more information?
They can go right to study.com, www.study.com.
I could remember that, Cecily. Jeez.
Study,
Would you please
education,
come
it
back?
works out, right?
Yeah, and would you please promise you'll come back again? I love what you're doing, and I think this is so great. And teachers just do not get even that much of the support and the praise and the love that they deserve. They deserve a lot. This is, if I can go back to Whitney Houston, well, the song predates Whitney, but she made it so famous. I believe the children are our future, right? It's all about showing that love and
Yes.
support, and teachers are right there at ground zero, making sure it happens. So thank you for making sure we know about this study. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. Cecily Glanton, National Director of K-12 Impact at Study.com. It is 7:44 and we have 50 degrees right now. When we come back, the cost of a trip down the shore is expected to drop by 5% this summer. You heard me right. I'm not hallucinating. I do need coffee, but it's going to drop 5%. We're going to talk with a financial expert about what this means for you. We're going to have lots and lots of rain today. That means a lot for you, I'm sure. It could be locally heavy, but we needed the rain. This is important. It's going to be chilly and damp, highs only in the low 50s. Our own meteorologist, Mike Favetta, will return with your full Garden State forecast. And we will take your calls at 888 658 0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. It's a Thursday. Don't go away. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's exactly 7:45, 50 degrees. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of rain today, could be locally heavy, chilly and damp. Make sure I'm not speaking foully. Highs only in the low 50s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, where I got that from, our former colleague Bill Evans would always say damp, because he was worried somebody would say he was saying damn. And back in those days, that was a bad thing to say on the air. Anyway, good morning. It's
Yeah.
ingrained back here. 20 years of hearing it every morning, and it just gets into your brain. Good morning,
And
sir.
frigid. I was always told frigid is also like a connotation because of what typically follows in our vernacular. So
I'll
we're
leave
all
that one to
warm and
you.
we're all warm and fuzzy here, It's not
Yes.
exactly a warm and fuzzy day outside, though. Although you might want to have the fuzzy slippers on throughout this afternoon, especially if you're working from home, because it's one of those days that your feet will just feel freezing with the heat that's kicked on, especially with temperatures this cold. 56 in Newark, 56 in Jersey City, even back over toward Newton and Sussex. Only the upper 40s now, climbing into the low 50s. So it'll feel chilly with the rain on and off into this afternoon. Good drought busting weather. We'll get the update in the next hour, showing you how much the drought has improved. This is last week's, but I think we'll see a big improvement, especially with all of that rain that's fallen in the last week, including what happened last night. Even with the rainfall deficit upwards of an inch out toward Monmouth County, I think you smash that and bring back lots of dry weather going into the weekend after so much rainfall. So cooler than average conditions across the southeast, a little bit of warmth there forecast through the first week of June in the northeasternmost section of New England, but our forecast through the end of May into early June features slightly more rainfall than average, at least going forward in the next 2 weeks. Our forecast has a little bit more rainfall today and tomorrow, and then we dry out for the weekend with highs in the low and mid 60s. Monday looks pretty decent to start with some sunshine. There could be some rain working back into the picture. One weather model is pretty bold about giving us some showers later in the day, but for now, we'll keep it sunny with a high of 73. Tuesday and Wednesday brings back the showers into the middle of next week with highs only in the 60s. The shore points actually features a milder forecast at the shore this weekend, 70 and sunny at the beaches. It'll actually be a great day to enjoy some time along the sand. Now, by Monday, I think we'll again see the chances of some clouds increase, maybe a few showers, but most of the rain holds off until Tuesday after the weekend is through.
Very good, sir. By the way, just a reminder, because it's Memorial Day weekend. I
Mhm.
always think of Memorial Day as like it has to be the 30th or the 31st, forgetting that no, it's what is it, the third weekend or whatever the rule is to make Memorial Day. But that this week is Fleet Week. And I
Yes.
remember when I was at Channel 7, you used to see the sailors literally walking in front of the studio because we were right at the time. They've moved now, but they used to be on Columbus. You worked there. They were on Columbus Avenue at 66 and 67th Streets, and we used to watch them just walk back and forth because it was only a few blocks from the Hudson River. But it's such a great, time to take the family, take the kids, go down and look at all the beautiful ships in on the river. Go and explore the Intrepid, Sea Air and
Sure.
Space Museum. You have to. It's so beautiful. Definitely check it out. It's just a
And one of
treasure
the
in our
best
backyard.
viewpoints is out over on Stevens Tech in Hoboken. You go up on Castle Point, you look out over the Hudson, you get this panoramic view. That's a really cool thing. I think they even have like events for alumni.
Yep, and or even in the vicinity of that, go over to Liberty State Park. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
from there you can have your lunch on one of the nicer days. Have lunch and look at the ships and look at the river. It's so pretty. We're so blessed to
Mhm.
have that here. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is now 50 degrees. Great advice from Mike as always. 50 degrees at 7:49. This is just a cool shot. The traffic's actually moving pretty well, but look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This is the Hudson County extension of the New Jersey Turnpike west of the Newark Bay Bridge. So you're looking at the Newark Bay Bridge, and traffic's actually flowing very well for this hour, considering the rain and this time of the morning. But I just wanted to give you a nice little cool moment. Whoever framed up that camera did a beautiful job, and they deserve praise. So we're giving them praise. We do have a crash, unfortunately, though, on the New Jersey Turnpike inner roadway northbound south of interchange 8A, Route 32, Monroe Township. Vehicles are on the right shoulder, and we have a down pole on Route 208 southbound south of Utter Avenue in Hawthorne. All lanes there are closed. Roving repairs on Route 70 eastbound from Hartford Road in Medford Township to 206 in Southampton Township with the right shoulder closed. Delays at the Holland Tunnel right now, we're told 20 to 25 minutes into Manhattan, 30 to 35 at the Lincoln, and this is the approach of the GW Bridge. Can we just say it? Pam and I love to say this, our director, Pam and I. That's ugly. That is ugly. That is 50 to 55 minutes. Yeah, she said very ugly. Yes, it is. 50 to 55 minutes making your way into Manhattan, 8095 approach to the GWB. How would you like to have, let's just say, how can I say this tastefully, Pam, that when I get stuck in traffic like that, I always need to make a stop. We'll just let you imagine. And that always terrified me. You come up on something like that, and there's nowhere to go. You're just stuck. And I just hate that. We'll just let you imagine the rest. I'll show the 8095 cam. The I-80 cam at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. Pam kept saying for months she was a doubting Thomas that this would ever get reopened. And we have 2 lanes on the eastbound side. I don't think people are even taking advantage of it, Pam. That's on the left there, left center of your screen. Lim said she's scared. She's not going on it. Those vehicles coming towards you are eastbound on I-80. Westbound is still closed for another week and a half or so. But eastbound, we now have 2 of the lanes open on I-80. Took us 5-6 months, but they did a lot of good work, and they did a beautiful job. No one thought, Pam certainly didn't think it would be done, and there it is. All right, thank you, Pam. 7:51, and with Memorial Day weekend just around the corner, coming right up. A lot of families are looking ahead to some well-earned beach time, and this year there's actually some good financial news for New Jersey shoregoers. A new report from Affinity Federal Credit Union shows the overall cost of a trip down the shore is expected to drop by about 5% this summer. Still, prices are a far cry from what they were just a few years ago. They're up more than 22% since 2020 for a typical day trip, but hey, we'll take what we can get. So how do you keep your summer spending in check without missing on the fun? Well, joining us now is some practical strategies is Shindora Knox, Associate Vice President and Market Manager at Affinity Federal Credit Union. Good morning, Shindora. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. And I have to do full disclosure. I am not Shindora, but I am Grace Hanlon from the Jersey Shore
Grace.
Partnership.
I'm sorry, Grace. We had you all
No
set up
problem.
there. It says Shindora. So I will make Grace, what's your last name? So I don't
worries.
call. What's your last name?
No worries. I'm Grace Hanlon. I'm with the Jersey Shore Partnership.
All right, Grace.
I am
down.
we're the leading organization for the Jersey Shore. So you're not far off by any means. And I'm as happy as anybody to hear the prices are going down. I'm the former director of tourism for New Jersey. So, it's a family-friendly destination. We want to make sure that people come to the shore and they have a great experience. And we certainly don't want parents crying, kids screaming because things are too expensive. So that's really great news that the shore, that the prices have come down.
And things really did. 22% from 5 years ago, that's a lot of money. That's a big hike. And I know people did not get 22% raises in that time. So that really was a big impact. So just to see a 5% decrease, we'll take whatever we can get at this point, right? This is a blessing.
It's like you're on the boardwalk and you want to put like a bag over your kid's head. Don't look at the pizza. It's like $12 a slice. So as a mother of a 10-year-old, having to kind of yank her along the way after we've spent a lot of money, I get the pain in the pocket for the parents. So, but it certainly wasn't anything the businesses wanted to do. They got hit with inflation and the prices went up. So everybody got hurt, but glad to hear it's getting better. And always remember, especially, as parents with young children, keep an eye on Easter weekend, because that's when you can get good discounts at Maurice Pier in Wildwood, Point Pleasant. It's kind of like the unofficial opening of the summer where you can get passes for the summer at a discount rate.
Right.
And book early.
Yeah, book early is key. You know what?
Book
I spent
early.
half my year in Florida. I'm actually technically a Florida resident because I spend half the year there, half the year here, and I qualify because I'm at exactly the half point to live in Florida.
Mhm.
Although I do pay my New Jersey taxes nonetheless. So people thinking, hey, he's cheating. No, I'm not. I pay all my New Jersey taxes. But including income taxes, by the way. But
Yes,
the thing that I wanted to point out is in Florida, all the beaches are free. There is no entry fee at beaches. And I know that, look, having spoken to politicians on the QT, a lot of the
for sure.
politicians say, well, part of the problem is certain beaches became more popular and they got inundated over the years. Everyone would go to the same 4 or 5 beaches and the locals couldn't. And so we had to impose some kind of a fee and a pass system and everything else. But it just seems patently unfair that access to the shore, which you could just walk to, should come at a cost. And some of the beaches are
Yeah.
charging ridiculous amounts this year. I mean, like there was one that we had that was $200 for the season to walk on the sand. Is there going to come a point when the community say, all right, we have to stop this? Because if other states have it for free, New Jersey's going to look, I'd rather get on a plane and be able to go to any beach I want to in Florida than to have to pay $200 to get onto a beach in the Jersey Shore. That's just not right.
Well, as a wise man once said to me, New Jersey's different. Okay, we're different. We have the beauty of the Jersey Shore is we have so many different towns. We have a tiny, tiny town like Seabright, all the way down to the wide, long beaches of the Wildwoods. Every
Mhm.
town has their own budget, and from what my experience is, it's really about maintenance, lifeguards. It's a small town budget that keeps the beaches safe and clean. It's not a budget that's coming from anybody else. So in order to keep the beaches, the lifeguards there, beach patrol, keep it clean, keep them raked, at the end of the night. These are expenses on a small town. So I feel empathy for the small towns that have to, have this in their budget. I think sometimes it's a little bit of crowd control too, is having people stop, pause, get a pass, understand the rules of the beach. So there's a lot of different elements that go into why a different town has to charge for the beach. Ultimately, do I get it? Absolutely. There are beaches you think everybody should be able to go on it for free. But when you sit in these meetings of small towns who have just gotten hit with the nor'easter like we have today, and their water stations are flowing, and all of a sudden they have expenses of flooding that they weren't expecting. These are the things that I don't think the average beachgoer understands what we go through in these small towns
Yeah.
along
I
the
still
shore.
think, again, coming from the different environment in Florida too, and I'm born and raised in New York, but New
I got
York,
you.
look, right? So I mean, you can go to Long Island with the exception of the Hamptons, with the exception of the Hamptons.
Okay.
So you go to Jones Beach, the only thing you pay for is parking. You don't have to pay for a beach pass. Those are national parks. I get it. So maybe New Jersey should take a point to revisit the concept and maybe make it a state paid for thing or a county paid for thing as opposed to putting all the burden on local towns. The way it works in like Dania Beach, Florida, for instance. Dania Beach, this is the funny thing there for anyone who knows Florida. The beach of Dania Beach isn't owned by Dania. It's owned by Hollywood. So what they did was they
Yep.
leased a
Yep.
section of Hollywood to be Dania, but they reap the rewards. So they get a certain amount of
Yep.
money from the county, a certain amount of money from the state for the lifeguards, maintenance. They have to do the same thing, right? Break the beaches, etc. But when it comes to parking, you got to pay for parking, right? And they make all that money because they maintain the parking lot, and all the businesses there pay taxes, so that the town makes all that money. So that's how they get it back. I just think that there comes a point of diminishing returns where people are just going to say, "I'm not going to pay $200 for a beach pass. You're just silly. I'll go to a county pool instead of that." And
Yeah.
that's kind of sad because that's one of the treasures of New Jersey.
Yeah. And listen, believe me, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not arguing with you. But I also think, look at like a larger problem in New Jersey is like, how about if we combined a little bit more municipalities? You have
Hmm.
each tiny small beach with their own police force, their own everything. And it's like if we combined resources, maybe we could kind of push along a savings to the people that come to use our beaches. But
Yeah, I
they
think
are
that's a
free.
great idea.
So, I mean, and again, that's when you kind of that's when you're talking to your politicians. You guys
Right.
can
And
beat
that's sad. I
that
think
subject. Yeah.
everyone is afraid to bring it up. That's part of the thing. I think you don't want to upset the townies, the town politicians who've been there for 200 years. Like Mayor Joe, he's been Mayor Joe since 1938.
Yeah,
We don't mess with
yeah,
what Mayor Joe says. I think New Jersey has a lot of that, whereas Florida is a much
yeah,
newer state where people have
exactly.
only been there for 20 years, 10 years. So there is no like, well, he's been the mayor for since 1936. We don't debate what he says. New
Generation.
Jersey has a lot of that.
You have
Yeah. It
generations
is.
of families with every town has its own little personality. I mean, what could be more
Yes.
different than, say, Spring Lake to Asbury
Right.
to but how amazing, if good family fun, go down to Ocean City, New Jersey, you want some hooting and hollering, you want to have a good time, go to Asbury. You don't want to drive too far, you go to Seabright, but they all have such different personalities and local politics and ordinances and things like that. It's certainly not unified, but I don't know.
It is
It
what it
makes it
is.
eclectic. It's eclectic,
Yeah.
and that's fine,
Yes,
you
a
know?
friend, just along those lines, because we're out of time, but I just have to mention a friend of mine in Asbury, and anyone in Asbury will know who I'm talking about when I say this. He's
Mhm.
literally held every position. He's been the public information officer, the fire department, the police
Who is it?
department.
John
He was
Moore?
I'll tell you later. I'm not going to tell you on. I'll tell you
Okay.
later. We'll pass it on. But he's been there. Well, his name is it's Garrett. You know Garrett. We'll leave
Yeah,
it alone.
yeah. Uh,
But he is in love with Asbury. Everything. He wants to. He's born there. He wants to die there. And so if anyone is going to wear all those hats, it's nice that a local
yeah,
does who is in love with his town.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so
Well,
much, Grace. Sorry
I
that we
can I
misnamed
just say
you.
that one thing? Our beaches are in great shape. I hope everybody comes down. They're wide, they're beautiful. Everyone's excited to greet everybody this Memorial Day weekend, and, Godspeed with all the businesses this, summer. They work hard, and I hope tourism's up.
Well, we certainly have a national treasure in the Jersey Shore,
We do.
more so than most states in this country. We're very blessed to have it, and I'm glad to see that we keep it up. That's a very important thing. Thank you so much, Grace Hamlin, for being with us
Thank
this
you.
morning, and happy summer, happy Memorial Day weekend.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
You bet. Take it easy. It's so exciting. It's Memorial Day weekend. I don't know about you, but summer is my time. Some people say it's too hot. Rosato, it's too hot in the summer. It's the humidity. I'll take the humidity any day over the cold. I'm sorry. Just it's me. I lived in Florida for a few years full time, and after that, my blood got thin, and I just can't take the cold anymore. All right, so we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. We need the rain, and we're getting lots and lots of it today. It poured overnight. We could have locally heavy rain through the day, chilly and damp, highs only in the low 50s. We're pretty much there right now. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. We're coming right back. Very good morning to you. It is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. We have 50 degrees and it is 8:04. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. A lot of rain today. Could be locally heavy, chilly and damp. Highs only in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has your detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Weather in a word today, blech. Just kind of that blech day. When you step outside, it's going to be wet and cold and dreary. It's going to stay that way in through this afternoon. We get some brighter weather tomorrow with a little bit of warmth, maybe by a degree or two. But look at the rainfall that's occurred just since 2 a.m. The last 6 hours showing the heaviest of the rain moving east. But certainly what has fallen has left some mighty big puddles across New Jersey, with the rainfall continuing this afternoon. Some spotty showers lasting through this evening, and temperatures staying very chilly in the upper 40s and low 50s only. We start to break out into some sun tomorrow south of the Atlantic City Expressway, and that's due to a little bit of a westerly breeze that will warm portions of southern New Jersey into the mid 60s, maybe get up into the upper 50s again tomorrow as the sun tries to come out before it sets before the end of the day. But I think Saturday is the drier day with a little bit of sun to start. We warm into the low 70s by the afternoon on Saturday, and then we're ultimately back down into the 50s again for Sunday morning. So it's another chilly start each morning, but we climb back into the 70s throughout the afternoon. Monday looks a little bit better and brighter, specifically with those clouds clearing, with temperatures that will approach average and be in the low 70s by Memorial Day. Just have to make it through one more day of rain today, some clouds tomorrow with maybe a sprinkle, but drier weather ahead for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Really looking pleasant. We'll tell you more about it coming up with a check of your detailed weekend forecast, Ken. That's in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And we do have a crash right now in the Garden State Parkway southbound exiting 36 in Egg Harbor Township. All lanes are open, but a lot of traffic through there in Egg Harbor Township. We have a down pole on Route 208 southbound south of Butter Avenue in Hawthorne. The right lane is closed, and a crash on 295 northbound north of exit 65, Sloan Avenue in Hamilton Township. All lanes are open, but very heavy. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound south of interchange 8A. So you notice all of this is central New Jersey now. All the accidents, a lot of flooding occurred in central New Jersey, so it's much worse than north or south. And so there is an issue again, interchange 8A on the Turnpike, Monroe Township, all lanes open, but vehicles on the right shoulder. 8095 approach to the GWB, very heavy, but it is moving at about 5 miles an hour right now. You're talking about a 45 to 50 minute in time to Manhattan. We have issues at the Lincoln, 30 to 35 minute crossing, and 30 minutes at the Holland right now. That's just the way it is. Lots of rain on the roadways. Give yourselves a lot of extra travel time. Our time is 8:06. A growing measles outbreak is sounding alarms across the nation, with over 1,000 reported cases spanning 31 states. Last week, a single infected traveler at Newark Airport potentially exposed thousands of travelers, while cases in Dallas raised concerns about further spread through major travel hubs. We're joined by Dr. Steve Goldberg, Chief Medical Officer at Health Track RX and a leading voice in infectious disease prevention, to discuss the dangers of measles, how the disease spreads, and what you need to know to stay safe. Welcome, Dr. Goldberg. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Ken, good morning. Good to be with you.
Thank you, sir. So first, let me ask you this, because I know I had this conversation with my doc for myself, because I'm going to be doing a lot of travel over the summer. Can your measles vaccine weaken over time? Because I had it as a kid. I had not measles, but the vaccine. Is there a point when you need to talk to your doctor and say, do I need to get my shot again?
Yes. So if you have doubt, the CDC recommends getting at least one MMR vaccination. If you want, you can also get a lab test to check your immunity. And there are certain profiles of adults where they're more likely to be at risk. If you only had one MMR dose in the distant past, in the 1960s, if you got something called the killed virus vaccine, or if you're unsure of your immunity and were born after 1957, about that era, those are times where you should be thinking about your immunity.
You just described me to a T. I'm born 1967. I had the inactive one. So, yeah, so it looks like because even I've had hepatitis shots in the past as well. And my doctor said that, no, it looks like you've worn off, whatever. I had to go. I'm in the middle of getting a double dose shot right now for that, because I'm traveling in a few weeks. So, yeah, it's important to get those vaccines. People, I think, do not think about that, especially if you're going to travel overseas. People don't give that thought. You really need to know. and even, as we know, in the case of measles, traveling domestically. So we have over 1,000 measles cases reported across 31 states. Is that considered a serious outbreak? And why is measles such a dangerous disease, doctor?
Ken, it is a serious outbreak. And a couple things. Let's put it all into context. Back before 1960, when we put forward measles immunization, we would have about 3 to 4 million children affected annually. And that resulted in about 48,000 hospitalizations, and about 400 to 500 deaths per year. So think we've gone from that to 1,000, which is bad. But there was a time back in 2000 that we felt we had been cleared of any risk of measles. So the fact it's resurging, and knowing the terrible history of measles in the past and the tremendous success from immunizations, creates all public health and population health folks to be very concerned. Yeah.
And we've heard about this one case at Newark Airport potentially exposing thousands. That's the thing. All you need is one person who has the disease, who could touch, cough, whatever, and then you have 10,000 people follow that person, and potentially they could all become infected. It's just terrifying to think about that. That's the way infectious disease happens. And in Dallas, a major travel hub, you have a circumstance where sometimes you have religious communities who don't want the vaccine. And we understand, look, we have religious freedom in the country, so we don't want to besmirch anyone. But the problem is, when you don't have the immunity, that's how it spreads like that. So how easily does measles spread in crowded places, and what does that mean for travelers this summer?
Yeah, Ken, let me put it into context. I mean, when we have nationwide control of measles, what that roughly means is that 95% of folks in a given community have active immunity. And what happens is, as that number drops to say 90%, because measles spreads so easily, there's risk of the transmission. So I know you described the Newark event. It really depends on whether that infected person was around a population of 95% of folks who are immunized or lower, to put that event into context.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So if you have your vaccine, not that you're entirely out of the woods, right? But the chances are you are pretty much protected. So that if you had your vaccine and you passed by and touched stuff that they touched, chances are you're pretty much good. But that's why it's so important to make sure your vaccine is up to date.
Yeah.
But
and to
I
your
love,
point,
yeah. Yes, sir.
we're concerned about communities where that 95% number is lower, right? And that's where an infected person comes into the environment. And given how easily measles spreads, it can spread among that group.
That's so essential, and that's frightening. You know what? Give us the symptoms. I think people have heard measles, but because it's basically, for years we considered it somewhat eradicated in this country, but not so much now. Tell us what the symptoms are and why it's so dangerous. I think a lot of people mix up measles and chickenpox, very different diseases. So please tell us about measles.
Yeah, measles is a illness that has certain ways of presenting. In general, people don't feel well. They have a fever. They have a rash, a certain type of rash. And they also most commonly have respiratory symptoms. Small percentage also can have encephalitic or brain inflammation symptoms. So the primary symptoms are a fever and a rash. Yeah.
And is the measles vaccine, is that one of the required vaccines for kids before they go into school, or is it just a state by state thing?
Well, it's actually mandated by Congress, right? That that children should be immunized, and there are different state legislative adjustments, right, that are occurring to give people some individual discretion with regard to immunity. But in general, children are immunized very early when they're entering school.
Right. And I remember I just had the conversation with my niece who had a baby when the baby was getting the MMR. vaccine and how important it is to make sure you have it. I am definitely going to make sure that I get a booster before I head overseas in the next few weeks. Just because I know it takes a few weeks for the vaccine immunity to build up in your system too, right?
Yes, it does, and that's why in general it's a 2 vaccine process to get someone protected. Yeah.
Okay. And given your expertise at Health Track RX with large-scale pathogen surveillance, are there steps that public health officials and individuals need to take to contain the outbreak now to prevent further spread beyond the 1,000 that we know of?
Well, I mean, in general, we want to track immunization rates and we want to track outbreak events. And the way our company contributes is we have the ability to support very rapid diagnosis of someone who is presenting with the symptoms, and that can help population control events, and it can also help that person get into best supportive care. And also, frankly, isolation.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, doctor. Tell us how the company does that, because that sounds fascinating.
Right. We are a company that offers infectious disease testing in the outpatient setting. There are different ways to look for infectious disease organisms. We use a particular type of test as a category. It's called a molecular test. So you're looking at the DNA or RNA, and specifically the genes in the bug when we're looking for an organism. So it's highly sensitive and specific. That means you're good at identifying negatives and positives. And we have a process with a partnership with UPS that allows us to result out infectious evaluation across multiple different body symptoms the next morning.
That's fascinating. I love that. We've come so far. The technology is so amazing how far in advanced it is. We have these cases continuing to rise, doctor. What do you think for the summer, as long as communities work together, as long as public health offices are in communication, do you think we could bring the measles disease outbreak right now that we have under control?
Well, Ken, I think the reason we're having this measles outbreak at all is because of vaccine hesitancy. Mm-hmm. So people have heard different information about the safety of measles, mumps, rubella, measles vaccination, and they're pausing. Measles is a very safe vaccination. It's been safe for 7 decades, right? And so I think what we need to do as concerned clinicians, public health, population health individuals is make sure people understand that they're safe, be available to empathetically listen to their concerns, and help them bridge that gap to get them comfortable to make sure their children are immunized and they themselves are immunized.
So important. Talk to your doctor, get this. I mean, we're talking about, think about the concerns of and hesitancy for some of getting a vaccine versus what happens if the population all gets measles. That's a lot worse than worrying about a vaccine. So talk to your doctor. This vaccine, as the doctor just said, has been around for decades. Get your vaccine. Very important for your sake, your family's sake, and the community at large. Dr. Steve Goldberg, Chief Medical Officer at Health Track RX, please come back again. Thank you so much for this important information and for joining us this morning, sir.
Our pleasure, Ken. Have a great day.
You as well, sir. Thank you. It is 8:17 right now. A lot of rain today. Could be locally heavy, chilly, and damp. Highs only in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full garden state forecast. And we will take calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 8:20 right now, 50 degrees. Literally, it's, to be specific, 50.4 on the thermometer in front of me. And at 6:45 this morning, it was 50.4. It has, I don't think I've ever seen it not budge at all. It's just damp, cold, dreary. Mike, I
Mhm.
mean, I've even offered a cup of coffee to the thermometer. I said, here,
Oh, have you? I should
it will
try that
not
for my
budge.
next forensic case. I said, "Excuse me, attorney, did you offer a cup of coffee to your weather station to try and get it to warm up past the point of 50.4?" We should work on that. But yes, when there's no
Absolutely.
solar irradiance, and this is how a lot of the forensic cases I do, this plays into a fact of, whether it's too cold or too warm, or if in the case of slip and falls, if the ice is about to melt,
Right.
solar irradiance, the sun helping to warm up the air around these weather stations. You don't have that today. There is no
Nope.
sun. It is cold. It is cloudy. It is clear. It is rather gray. And so it's going to stay rather cool, and temperatures pretty consistent across the board throughout the afternoon. Maybe in central New Jersey, we get up into the mid and upper 50s, 56 in Matawan, 57 in Long Branch. But yeah, it's going to be another gray afternoon here across the state of New Jersey with limited sunshine today, if any at all. In fact, I'll show you the UV coming up. It's right down at a pretty measly 1. Our forecast today is great for the pollen. The pollen has cleared thanks to all of the rainfall. I think we'll see molds maybe increase by tomorrow. But in terms of the additional rainfall on top of what's already fallen, and more than an inch of rain has already fallen, maybe an additional tenth to a half inch across the western sections of the state. They're shown in blue, and up to 1 inch across places east of the Parkway. Beyond that, it's a cloudy day, so the UV is at 1. That's a low. No sunscreen today, but you need the umbrellas certainly through this afternoon as more of these showers spin through the Garden State by the end of the day. Most of them will lift off to our north, but we got a good soaking last night. And there's still some more showers that are waiting in the wings that'll eventually give us a few spot sprinkles into this afternoon and evening, just in time for the evening rush. So road conditions pretty poor into tonight. Tomorrow morning, we start off with a peak of sun in southern New Jersey, gradually see the skies clear through the afternoon. I don't mean like full-on blue sky. There'll be some patchy breaks of sun throughout tomorrow afternoon, especially as the sun sets. You get one of those beautiful sunsets with the pretty shades of pink and purple in between the clouds. That's what's on tap tomorrow. Now, it'll be chilly at that time with temperatures cooling off into the upper 50s, and then we're back in the 60s only by Saturday, but it's Sunday that could see the 70s return with more clearing and drier weather. So after a pretty cool afternoon Saturday, again, more clearing, more breaks in the clouds. Sunday is the better looking day this weekend, or the best of the 3 days this upcoming holiday weekend, with Sunday afternoon's high climbing to 72 in Newark, but still on the upper 60s down the shore. You'll notice a little bit more clearing for Monday as well. Maybe a threat of some showers comes in for Tuesday night into Wednesday, but that's our best chance of seeing some more wet weather just in the middle of next week. And that could even linger through the end of next week as well, with some of those stagnant weather patterns giving us the rainfall for several days at a time, with more rain on the way for next weekend. So as far as this weekend is concerned, we dry out for Saturday, a few extra clouds than we'd like. 64, we'll take it. At least it's not raining. And 68 on Sunday. Some places could make it to as warm as 72 by Sunday afternoon. So a better finish to this weekend before some rain comes back for next weekend.
Mike, thank you very much. It is 8:24 right now, 50, still 50.4 degrees. It has not, literally, I've never seen that in 2 hours. It has not budged a tenth of a degree, as Mike said, because there's no radiational warming or radiational cooling. Thank you for the tech. It is now time to tell you about traffic, and we have parking related issues. So this happens anytime we have a holiday weekend coming up, and everyone thinks everyone leaves on Friday. The rule today, people leave on Thursday. No matter what the holiday, they're all leaving on Thursday, and they're staying through Monday, and they come back on Tuesday. So they're encountering the long weekends now. You watch next week when we're going to be off on Monday. You watch, Tuesday is going to be a crazy traffic day. So right now we have parking related issues at JFK. Terminal 4 is 97% occupied. So this is what happens. People are all going to the airports. They're jamming the parking lots. If you're headed to any of the area airports, make sure you have a parking reservation or book parking at one of the regional satellite lots, and make sure they have transportation to get you to the airport. We have a crash on 295 northbound south of exit 65, Sloan Avenue, Hamilton Township, all lanes open. Crash and an overturned vehicle, New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound, north of the Southern Mixing Bowl in Newark. 2 right lanes blocked, and a crash and overturned vehicle on the New Jersey Turnpike southbound, north of Delaware Memorial Bridge in Carneys Point Township. All lanes open, but a vehicle off on the right side of the road. We have a crash on the GSP southbound at exit 36, exiting at exit 36, so it's way down south, Egg Harbor Township, all lanes open. 8095 approach to the GWB, bumper to bumper, absolutely bumper to bumper. It's almost an hour into Manhattan right now, 35 minutes at the Lincoln, 30 minutes at the Holland. 826, the House of Representatives this morning, early, narrowly passed a massive domestic policy package. It's a major victory for President Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson after weeks of heated negotiations within the GOP. This is President Trump's big, beautiful bill, as he calls it. It is a multi-trillion-dollar tax cut and spending measure now heading to the Senate, where Republicans have vowed that they will change it. That always happens. It's called reconciliation. They say, we'll take this, we'll get rid of this, we'll Then that goes back to the House. They accept it or deny it and make their own tweaks, and then it goes to the president. Following hours of overnight debate, the vote on the final passage in the House, get this, 215 to 214. 2 Republicans, Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Warren Davidson of Ohio, joined all the Democrats present in the opposition. And by the way, there is one congressman who just passed away on the Democrat side. Sadly, had he been alive, this would have been tied. It wouldn't have passed. So because of his passing, this passed because of the passing away of the congressman. So it's kind of interesting. Every vote counts in a case like this. 827, a man is under arrest after 2 Israeli embassy staff members were killed in a shooting outside the Washington Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. last night. The shooting occurred in front of the museum where an event was being held by the American Jewish Committee. The staffers were both shot at close range. Police say the suspect shouted, "Free, free Palestine," while being arrested. He was seen pacing back and forth outside the event before the attack. Police identified the alleged shooter as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. The victims were boyfriend and girlfriend. They were about to head to Jerusalem to get engaged. The shooting caps a year of American radical protesters shouting "Free Palestine" in response to the Israeli invasion of Gaza, which in turn was a response to Gaza's attack on Israel in October of 2023, in which Gazans killed over 1,200 Israelis just for being Jewish and living near the border. And for this, you have students who are radical leftists and uninformed about Gaza and its history, screaming "Free, free Palestine," and from the river to the sea. This is the result. And those of you who think it's just freedom of speech, it's not, because it's calling for the murder of Jews. And now you have 2 Jews murdered on our soil. Congratulations. Think about that. Next time you think, my kid, my kid, they free Palestine. This is what it produces. 829. Miracle of miracles, the New Jersey Department of Transportation has reopened 2 lanes on Interstate 80 eastbound in Wharton that had been closed for sinkhole repair for months. State transportation officials said the eastbound detour at exit 34 will be removed. DOT staff and contractors worked literally round the clock for months after sinkholes started to open up above abandoned iron mines that were never properly filled a century ago. Meanwhile, the work on the westbound lanes of Route 80 progressing, and then the NJDOT says they expect 2 lanes to reopen by the end of next week. The DOT is hoping to have all lanes in both directions fully reopened by June 25th or earlier. And New Jersey Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver could spend 16 years in prison if convicted of all federal charges now mounted against her. McIver, charged with assaulting 2 federal officers during a confrontation at Delaney Hall in Newark, the ICE detention facility. The Congresswoman had her first court appearance yesterday virtually because she was in Washington for the vote. In that court appearance, the judge warned her not to travel internationally until after the trial. Her lawyer instead insisted she is not a flight risk, and the judge said she would consider allowing McIver to travel for vacation this summer, provided she lets the court know ahead of time, and the judge will consider it. McIver's also ordered she must surrender any firearms by Saturday, her next court appearance, June 11th. And, we hear these stories from time to time. I like to call it and I have to look to my left because I have the details to my left. Let's call it the Darwin Award. What is the Darwin Award? We have laws here in the United States that you're not allowed to have wild animals, right? You're not allowed to keep wild animals. Oh, but this fox is so cute, Ken. We raised them from a pup. The reason they call certain animals domesticated and others wild. Domesticated animals tend not to snap. They're still animals, but they tend to be calm if they're raised around you, etc. Wild animals, it's hard to domesticate. In other words, if you have a wild horse, if you have a wild lion, it's hard to count on the fact that they stay calm. Lions, no matter how much you raise them from cubs, lions can turn on you because they are lions. And when they do, you don't win, you lose. Such is the case of a guy in the town of Najaf in southern Iraq. See, there are national laws in Iraq against this, but they really don't enforce them. So this guy, apparently his name is Akil Fakr al-Din, din as in dinner. He got a lion in his backyard to keep people out from poaching his vegetables. And it's not the first time. He's had actually several lions. Well, he went out to take care of his new lion, which he raised from a cub. The lion attacked him. And I'm not trying to make light of this. It's just because this guy wins the Darwin Award thinking, hey, I know better than everyone else. The lion not only attacked him, it killed him. And not only killed him, but devoured him. The lion ate almost all of him. There was very little left of him. Literally consumed him before somebody realized that he was gone. So for anyone who thinks, oh, I could raise an alligator in my Bronx apartment, think again, not a good idea. Okay. It is 8:32, and when we come back, meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast, and it's a rainy, wet, gray one. It's going to be damp, cold, chilly all day, rain heavy at times. Just beware for that. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings at 8:32. We are coming right back. It is 8:34. We have 50.4 degrees still, 2.5 hours. It is Thursday morning, the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people making the out-of-town trek right now. People think that, oh, they wait till Friday. No, they don't. The last like 10 years, I've been doing mornings for 30 plus years. The last 10 years, everybody seems to leave, or at least about half tend to leave on Thursdays now to take advantage of the long weekend, and they stay till Monday. Sometimes they stay till Tuesday because Monday's a holiday. So you watch what happens. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Again, 50.4 degrees, 8:35. And it's going to be rainy, wet, but we needed the rain. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has your full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Signor Michele.
Hey there, Ken. What do you think is going to happen on Monday, or rather Tuesday morning for the commute? Typically Tuesday morning's a little heavier. People are back in the office. Maybe they'll take the extra work from home day
I
and
think
make it a
I
short
think they're
commute.
actually going to commute. I think they'll commute home on Tuesday. That's what I think. I don't think they're actually
Okay.
going to be driving into work. I think they're going to enjoy all of Monday and they're going to
Hmm.
use Tuesday as a travel day home. Mark my
Okay.
words. It's from all the years of doing this. That's what they're going to do,
And
and it's
now,
going to be a nightmare
then
of
by
traffic.
Wednesday, coinciding with the awful rain in the morning, a messy commute,
Yep,
yes, then everybody will be back on the roads, and you'll be doing those
exactly.
longer traffic reports. But hey,
You
at
got
least
it.
2 lanes of Route 80 will be open, so some better news there.
True that.
Yep. So we've got some more rain in the forecast today. It's going to be a wet start and a wet finish. You hear the raindrops pitter pattering on the windowsill right now as more of those showers roll on through. It stays cool and breezy through today and tomorrow with another round of wet weather on the way early tomorrow morning. Look at the showers right now working their way through central New Jersey over the Parkway, even sections of northern New Jersey. Some of these showers working across Route 80, 287, and 80 right now. Down across southern New Jersey, you may have the potential of seeing a passing shower or storm as well this afternoon as that easterly breeze persists but starts to switch direction and blow in from the south and west. That may clear us out, not today, but by tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll see a pretty sunset after 8 p.m. Look at all these showers right now working in through Monmouth and Ocean County, making for a very wet go of things, even more rain developing across northern New Jersey, as is the case when the air is this unstable. You say, well, the rain wasn't there a half hour ago on the radar. How does it just appear? It's a little bit of fluid dynamics happening right before your eyes. But our forecast today brings back that rain chance at 100% right through the end of the day. Less of a rain chance tomorrow with some clouds working in, maybe some clearing by the end of the day, just in time for that sunset. And then Saturday, less rain chance still, but still very cloudy, I think, through the early afternoon. Saturday is one of those days where we get some sunshine early on in the morning as the sun works in on the ground, heats it up, makes the air unstable, and gives us some more clouds into the afternoon, maybe a sprinkle in the northernmost section of the state. And you see that here with most of the energy staying upstate New York rather than over New Jersey. Our forecast clears out for Sunday. Looks beautiful to finish out the weekend proper. And then the holiday starts off a little gray and then eventually clears out by the afternoon. So I think Monday is not all gray, but we will see some extra clouds at times throughout our Memorial Day. Saturday and Sunday, both dry days across the state. Highs climbing into the upper 60s, low 70s by Monday with more sun in the afternoon. And then the rain returns for Tuesday and Wednesday. So traveling home from the long holiday weekend, that's where the wet weather will get you. But again, nice and pleasant. Even down the shore, great day to visit the beach on Sunday, 71 as the high. I always think of that Al Roker commercial, Ken, where he tries to, tell people that, oh, it's going to be a terrible beach day. And then he's the one that has the sandal to himself.
Right. He kicks them
I've done
all
it
off the
before.
beach. Al is the sweetest guy. The funniest part is he's like one of Al, I'm sure he's one of the sweetest men in the world. He's the last person on the planet who would ever
Of
do
course.
that. But that's what makes it even funnier. Those who know him know
Yeah.
that Al would never do that. But that's what's funny. All right, Mike. Thank you, sir. It's again still 50.4, by the way. Let's see if we can get it from beginning to end of the show. 50.4 degrees. It's crazy. We have a crash though in a vehicle. This is not crazy. Well, it is crazy, but it's not funny. A crash and a vehicle spun out on the Jersey Turnpike northbound entrance ramp at interchange 11 Garden State Parkway interchange. That's in Woodbridge. All lanes are open, but the vehicle's off, spun out on the right side of the road. We have parking related issues now at not only Kennedy Airport, but several of the area airports. If you intend on driving to the airport and park in their satellite or in their parking lot at the airport, just have a plan B. Try to make a reservation at one of the satellite parking lots and make sure those satellite lots will transport you to the airport. There are a lot of the lots now, they will not transport you. You have to get your own like Uber or Lyft or taxi. So double check to make sure transportation is included because I found out the hard way a while back. Crash on the Garden State Parkway Express lane southbound south of exit 120, Lawrence Harbor in Old Bridge Township. A left lane is blocked. We have a crash on an overturned vehicle on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound north of the Southern Mixing Bowl in Newark with a right lane closed, and a crash on 295 northbound south of exit 65, which is Sloan Avenue in Hamilton Township. And we have all lanes open, but a lot of traffic through there now. Overturned vehicle on the Turnpike southbound north of the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Carneys Point Township. All lanes open, but a vehicle on the right shoulder. And oh my gosh, it just goes on and on, folks. Down pole on 208 southbound south of Utter Avenue in Hawthorne. The right lane is closed. Crash on the turnpike, inner roadway northbound south of interchange 8A, Monroe Township. All lanes open, vehicles on the right shoulder. We have roving repairs on Route 70 eastbound from west of Hartford Road in Medford Township to 206 in Southampton Township. The right shoulder is closed. Holland Tunnel travel time in is about 20 to 25 minutes. Lincoln 25 to 30. And we can take a look at the GWB. 8095 approach is ugly. It's been this way for a while. Actually, that's starting to move better than it was. We're being told it's still 45 to 50 minutes into Manhattan right now. Again, 30 to 35 at the Lincoln, 25 to 30 at the Holland. 8:41 is our time. Looks like the folks in traditionally leftist-dominated Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania are done with woke politics when it comes to their mayor, a guy known for pushing issues of equity and inclusion and diversity. Allegheny County Controller Corey O'Connor defeated incumbent Pittsburgh Mayor Ed Gainey in the city's hotly contested Democratic mayoral primary. O'Connor is known for being a much more traditional moderate centrist Democrat, and that's the man who Pittsburgh Democrats want now. They said, out with the woke leftist progressives, bye-bye. Expect to see this as a trend that will start spreading across the nation. Check out this unbelievable dashcam video of an out-of-control dump truck speeding into a home in Woodbury Heights, New Jersey yesterday. Rescue crews rushed to save a man trapped inside that dump truck lodged inside the crumbled house. The house had to be torn down, but nobody got hurt inside that house. And the man was taken to the hospital and checked, but he's going to be okay, it turns out. That's amazing video. There are only a few search and rescue units, by the way, in South Jersey that can tackle this kind of an emergency. And fortunately, they were present, made up of folks from Cherry Hill, Camden, and Winslow Township fire departments. They were all ready to go, and took them about 25 minutes to get them together in Gloucester County to make sure everything was okay. Fortunately, the utility company was able to shut off the gas. That truck driver was alert, talking to first responders. Seems the driver had suffered some sort of medical emergency, but once again, miracle of miracles, everyone's going to be okay. That is a miracle. It is 8:42. Acting Columbia University very radical left-wing President Claire Shipman, former very left-leaning correspondent of Good Morning America, decided that it was a good idea to talk to her students at the university's graduation ceremony yesterday about arrested ex-grad student Mahmoud Khalil. Everybody was nice and calm until Claire Shipman thought it was a good idea to bring up a political hot-button issue about Mahmoud Khalil. Well, dozens of students in that riled-up audience began chanting Khalil's name and loudly booed Shipman throughout her remarks. And mind you, there were Jewish students there with their families just wanting to enjoy the graduation, and now they felt pressured and they felt insecure with other people shouting from the river to the sea next to Jewish people. Good job, Claire Shipman, who, by the way, I think is Jewish herself. Khalil was arrested by ICE agents at an off-campus apartment owned by the university in March and whisked away to a Louisiana migrant detention facility awaiting deportation. The Trump administration says Khalil, who served as a spokesman for several anti-Israel groups, engaged in activities aligned with the Palestinian terror group Hamas. And remember, under United States law, the Secretary of State does not need a reason to deport you if you're not a citizen. Even if you've been granted a visa, under the law, it is entirely 100% up to the Secretary of State. If that Secretary of State deems you any threat to the United States, he or she does not have to explain why. The law says, the Secretary of State says you're a threat, you're out. Doesn't have to give a reason. And Congress and all the liberals in Congress are shouting left and right, saying, well, he wasn't given due process. You read the law. Doesn't need due process. You are not a citizen in the country. What part of bye-bye don't you get? So there you go. If you need a lawyer, and maybe this person does, Kim Kardashian is now a lawyer. The Skims founder took to Instagram yesterday to celebrate her graduation from law school after 6 years. She worked very hard for this. The 44-year-old explained that her desire to study law began after feeling dumbfounded watching a video on Twitter. She didn't understand what they were talking about. She decided to educate herself. Good for her. Kim Kardashian dedicated 18 hours a week, 48 weeks a year for 6 straight years while raising her 4 kids, running businesses, filming TV shows, and showing up in courtrooms to advocate for others. Of course, it didn't hurt that she's worth $100 million. Her late dad, a lot of young'uns don't realize her late dad was the very famous lawyer Robert Kardashian, who famously represented O.J. Simpson in the murder trial of his ex-wife and a waiter. It is 8:45. When we come back, we'll have a lot more news, and we have a good interview too. So don't go away. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. Lots of rain today. Highs only in the low 50s. We're coming right back. What better way to kick off your morning than hearing Zen sounding music like that? I feel like we should have little symbols on my fingers and bring us back with that at 8:46, 50.4 degrees to be very specific. And it is Thursday morning. This is the Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. The big getaway, though, is underway now. A lot of folks on the roadways trying to make it out of Dodge. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with your extended holiday weekend Garden State forecast. Lots of rain today, but we needed it. Good morning, Mike.
We do, yes. So as you head out and maybe get out of Dodge today, you will endure quite a bit of rain, on and off showers through this afternoon. Some of those the worst of the showers right now, working through northern and central New Jersey. You can see most of the state covered in that light rain, with these showers continuing through this afternoon, with some steady rains working their way right now down the Parkway, east over toward Long Branch, Red Bank, Wall, and Belmar. Even further south, the rain continuing, but I think there'll be some on and off sprinkles, maybe even a threat of a thunderstorm in southern New Jersey right now at 8:47. No rain showing up on the radar south of the Atlantic City Expressway, but there's probably more on the way. Almost an inch and a half fell statewide. The lowest area right up there, 3/4 of an inch up toward Sussex County, and we'll bring back the threat of some more rain into this afternoon. Also, the threat of coastal flooding through 9 o'clock tonight around the high tide cycle due to that pretty persistent easterly wind. So in northern New Jersey today, temperatures are pretty much staying put. You're 54.4 degrees in Morristown. It's probably what you'll get through this afternoon as the high. So temperatures likely not budging there through the end of the day. And look, the drought monitor has updated now. No more drought across the state of New Jersey as of minutes ago with this information that just came in at 8:30. The moderate drought even just over Pennsylvania. So abnormally dry is what the U.S. Drought Service is showing, and that's great news. So drought officially over as of today, May 22nd. Great way to start off the holiday weekend with some full reservoirs and slightly abnormally dry conditions even into the afternoon. We'll see that rain continue. So the drought monitor progressively gets better even going into next week. It was a very long drought and it was severe at times, even borderline extreme, but we'll enjoy the nice dry weather at least this weekend and without the threat of any drought. It's still important to conserve water, though. Plenty of rain forecast for the next 2 weeks with above average precipitation from the Climate Center. So our forecast keeps the dry weather around beginning tomorrow afternoon, lasting through Saturday and Sunday, and even Monday with a slow warm up to 72 degrees. Tuesday and Wednesday is our next chance for some rain, even with the forecast at the shore points warming up more quickly by Sunday. Thanks to the dry weather, the sandy soil gets up to 71. That'll feel great. And the 70s stick around as well for Monday. So Ken, you have your breaking news. And here in the weather department, breaking news as of minutes ago, drought has ended for New Jersey.
Thank God. And just in time for Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, Mother
Yeah.
Nature. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we do, for everyone who curses the rain, never curse the rain, bless the rain, and thank the God above for that rain. We sure need it. And let's just hope, as friends in the meteorology business like you over the years have told me, you always want to see a storm, some nice rain, and then a few days of sun. Storm,
Sure.
and then a few days of sun. So you pay for it. You get the storm to make sure we get replenished, and then some nice days of sun. That way we stay on the up and up. Always good.
Uh-huh.
My friend, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. It's
You
always a
too.
pleasure working with you. All right. Tell both Nino and Rocco and your beautiful wife, I said, enjoy. All right. Take it easy, Mike. We'll check
Catch
you
you
again
next week.
next week. You bet. 8:50 right now. We check our traffic. That's not so pretty right now. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound just north of 127, which is in Woodbridge Township. A left lane is blocked. And take a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. This is just ugly. It's about a 50-minute approach and a crossing into Manhattan right now. It got about a 35-minute approach time and crossing at the Lincoln Tunnel, 20 to 25 at the Holland. Just difficult. Make sure if you're traveling to any of the area airports, you have a reservation if you're driving to the airport because a lot of the parking lots are full. D1, if you live in the Jersey Shore or go to the Jersey Shore, Memorial Day weekend is the official kickoff time, and one of the iconic places to do it is Jenkinson's Pier at Point Pleasant Beach. And there's the famous Jenkinson's Aquarium there. It's iconic. It's long been a family favorite, and this morning we are thrilled to welcome one of their star residents. Joining us live with a virtual visit is a penguin, along with a human, Jennifer Langaris-Meyer from the aquarium. Good morning. So do I talk to your penguin friend or you first?
Yeah, you could try either way. I'm a good interpreter, though, for her.
What is your penguin's name?
This is Betty. So Betty has been with us at the aquarium since she hatched. So she's been here with us 11 years now.
It's adorable. How long do penguins usually hang around, if you know what I mean?
So, question. In the wild, we see their lifespan at about 15 to 18 years. They've seen some older ones get to 20, but our oldest is currently 39. So a little bit longer when they live in human care.
No, I would have said 5 to 10 years. I would have never guessed that long. So, and Betty seems very happy in your arms. So you're Betty's buddy. Can they be somewhat domesticated? I didn't realize that penguins could be kind of domesticated like that.
They are definitely not domesticated. Do not be deceived. Her being calm right now actually comes from many years of working with them and building up trust. Our animals at the aquarium are all still very wild animals. They retain all of those wild instincts. She just is comfortable with us, enjoys the attention. So we kind of reward that by moments like this where she gets to hang out with us. So.
Very cool. Now you're going to keep her, I'm assuming, in a cold environment in there so that she's comfy, because I know that penguins are not kind of Jenkinsons like out front, in front of the aquarium. You wouldn't find penguins walking in their natural habitat there.
Well, it might surprise you actually to learn that most penguins don't like the cold. So while you would not find them in New Jersey, you only find them in the southern hemisphere. They live in really warm areas. Yeah, she's from Africa. Yes, these guys would be from Africa.
I had no idea. Look at this. You've dispelled every myth and rumor ever in like 5 minutes. This is amazing. So I just always thought they had like blubber and whatnot, and they needed cold environments. So you said
they always do have blubber.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. They do have blubber. It's because the water that they swim in is very cold. But there are penguins that also live in the Galapagos Islands, where, as many people know, it's very warm, tropical habitat. These guys live in Africa. You can find them in South America, Australia, New Zealand. You do find some in the cold, but most of them actually live in a variety of other climates.
I'm going to use this at every gathering in this weekend to tell people. They're going to be shocked. This is great. Now, Jenkinson's, let's talk Jenkinson's because it is such an awesome place. Jenkinson's Aquarium is a staple at the shore, especially like a lot of people, if you go down to the shore and it gets cloudy or starts to rain, you don't want to pack up and leave. You go into the aquarium. It's a great way to spend a few hours with the kids. Fascinating place. What can visitors expect this summer? What exhibits or programs do you have?
Oh, so we have a really exciting summer lined up. Starting tomorrow, the aquarium is going to be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. So you'll have plenty of time to come visit us and our residents like Betty. We also have some free programs this year. So on Mondays, we're going to be doing free beachcombing with our staff at 6. Tuesdays, we do beach bingo at 6. So we really try to give a variety of activities through the year. You may find a mermaid meet and greet. We have some animal shows going throughout. As well as the normal just fun and excitement of the boardwalk and all of the great live things that they offer as well. So
Betty has the coolest personality ever. Like, I want to be Betty's friend. She's just so cool. And for Really, she is just awesome. She should be like right there on the sign. Welcome to Jenkinson's Aquarium. Here's Betty. For people who want to support the aquarium's work because it is such an incredible place, what's the best way to get involved?
Really, just come and visit us and take part in some of our programs. We really make sure that we dedicate some of what we do to conservation. There's also a lot of really amazing conservation groups that we work with. So if you're excited about the planet and ways that you can protect them, you can get involved with all of them. For penguins in particular, there's one in Africa called Sand Cob, and they really do a lot of hard work to make sure these guys are taken care of in the wild.
That is so, so cool. And do people need reservations to get into the aquarium, or can they just walk in, buy their tickets?
Nope, you're going to want to come right to the front desk and purchase your tickets in person. Yeah, so you
How
can get
long
them
have you
right
been
here.
there?
Just
How
come
long?
right in the front.
I'm sorry
I've
to
been here
step on you. I didn't mean to
13
step on you.
years. Yeah, 13
13
years.
years.
Yes.
That is so
Yeah.
cool. It's such a, I've only been there twice because I live way up in North Jersey, but it is just a treasure. I know, I mean, literally, I don't know a human being who hasn't visited your aquarium. It is just one of the places to go. And I'm so thrilled as a New Jersey resident that that you exist, that Jenkinson's Aquarium
Oh,
is there because it is part of Jersey life.
thank you so much for saying that. We really are all very dedicated to what we do. We love our animals. We love where we're at. It's such a fun place for families to come visit. So we really appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being there. And again, everyone, if you're headed down, you need to go down and visit Jenkinson's right on the pier. And I'm frantically looking. Excuse me for looking away. It's because because we added this at the last second of my script, and I've lost your name. So please tell us your name again. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My name is Jennifer Lingaris Meyer. I'm one of the keepers here at the aquarium at Jenkinson's Aquarium
Forgive
in
me,
Point Pleasant
Jennifer.
Beach.
This is
It's
a
okay.
live show, and sometimes Goofy Ken here loses his track because I'm old. But it's so nice. Thank you so much. So nice to have you on. And Betty, thank you as well. Happy summer. Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you. And thank you too. We hope everybody has a wonderful and safe weekend.
You too. Take care. Thank you. Bye, Betty. And that does it for this edition of ONNJ Jersey Mornings. You never know what you're going to get. Betty the Penguin. Who knew? Who knew the penguins live in nice, warm climates? Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you again next week. Till then, take it easy. Thanks for watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings, folks. Bye bye.